Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson, and waiting for my panelists to show up. They are on their way coming. But before they come in, we want just to go through various issues making the headlines. As you know, today is the Christmas Eve, especially people are prepared. There are those who are traveling to be with their family members back in the village, or those who are traveling or on their way to be with the friends and family. So just to make sure that you drive safely if you're the person on the wheels, and also make sure that if you're using the public transport, just make sure that you call out on the driver if at all they are not following the regulations. So, some of the drivers, at least at this point in time, they tend to make so many trips, and so you need to be very careful. Makobura Barigani.
Niko salama, nashukuru. Natumai nawe pia uko salama na vilevile ambao wanatutazama.
Asante sana Makobura. Niko salama. Ni hile tu hali na warai wale ambao labda kwa saizi usiku wanasafiri nyumbani, labda ni watu ambao labda wanajiendesha, ama labda wanatumia sana sana magari za umma kwa hali ya usafiri. Unajua wakati kama huu unapata kwamba kuna vifo vingi ambavyo zinatokea. Sasa kama wewe unajua ni dereva, wewe jua kwamba lazima umakinike katika udereva wako, kwa sababu usipomakinika kuna ajali ambazo zinaweza tokea, ambazo zinaweza zuiliwa. Na ujue kwamba kama wewe ni dereva, kitu lazima ujue kwamba wewe ndio mwendeshaji bora katika barabara wakati ambao unaendesha. So lazima ujue mazingira yako pale ulipo na vitu kama hizo. Makobura, wewe unasema vipi?
Okay, asante sana. Kwanza wacha nichukue hii fursa vilevile, nichukue hii fursa to wish. I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone, especially those who believe in Christ, that is the Christianity group, who believes in Jesus Christ as the Savior or the Son of God,
who
was sent by God to come and redeem the world. Tomorrow, of course, tonight, we will be celebrating the birth or the birthday of Jesus Christ. So my message to the world is that as we celebrate the birth of Christ, let Christ himself be born in our heart. Let the birth of Christ rekindle love, forgiveness, care, and all the good things that Christ stood for or Christ taught his people, so that we may live in a unified environment, an environment where there's love, an environment where there's forgiveness, an environment where there's care, an environment that welcomes each and everyone despite the political difference, despite the cultural differences, despite the regional differences, or all those differences that are there within the world. But above all, let us ensure that we live a life that, of course, is pleasing to the Almighty God.
All right.
Again, I would wish all those who are traveling a safe journey, and may they take great care as they are driving or moving towards different directions, having in mind that the celebration is just for a week or so, or 2 weeks or so. But again, we still have a life to live. Let us not get too much excited to an extent that we are going to forget the many things that we are supposed to be doing in our daily lives. We have a life after the celebration. Let us not be carried away with the mood of celebration as well. To those who have nothing to celebrate, I mean nothing, this period again is the expectation of the people is that you are supposed to have food, you're supposed to have merry, and all those kind of things. To those who have, let them share. Let this period give them a grace to share with those who do not have something to eat. Let them eat together and share the love together. This
Mm.
is what Christ stood for.
All
That is
right.
my message to
All right.
everyone, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much, Makobura, for your Merry Christmas messages and wishes to Kenyans who are traveling and to those who God might have blessed abundantly to share with those who are unfortunate during this time of celebration. Miguda, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you? If you can hear me from
Yeah,
your
yeah, we
end.
can get you. Yeah.
Okay, that's very fine. I'm okay. I'm just one of the few people who don't believe I don't celebrate Christmas. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like this just like any other day. Tomorrow, like any other day, according to my
Mm-hmm.
belief, which I'm
Yeah.
entitled to. We are just here like any other day, and there's no much anticipation from my side. No much excitement. No much. We are just normal, and
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow we are likely going to job as usual, as some of my colleagues who have businesses are going to open, and some of us who are also doing other things, we are going to participate fully tomorrow. Like right now, we are having a tournament going on. We'll be there, and that is the beauty of the world. We are not on the same script. We don't believe on tomorrow. We subscribe to a different school of thought. So I just want to wish my people and my good friends like Marco Bura, who is a staunch Catholic and believer, that as you celebrate the birth of Christ, according to your beliefs and doctrines, kindly try
Mm-hmm.
to be a little bit cautious, because right now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm from town, and on my way, a mother who was carrying a newborn, actually on a motorbike, a car has just knocked them from behind, but
Mm-hmm.
by God's grace, none has been injured. But what if they could have been injured or died? It could be a different story. So be pleased and also urge other people to be cautious and ensure that there is life after 25th.
All right. Thank you so much, Miguda. And that is true. We need to be very cautious, especially when we are going to celebrate or when we're going to visit families for those who believe and celebrate the Christmas. So, because it is just a day, so take your time. And as I said earlier, that if you're driving, just make sure that, or just be convinced that you're the best driver on the road. That is usually, especially if you're driving your own car, self-drive. Look at your surrounding, comb your surrounding, and know who and what should I do, because some of the accidents that do happen, sometimes they can be uh, unavoided if we are very proactive on what we are doing. That same also goes to the law enforcement. It is also their duty right now to protect Kenyans, not only for this season, but every time. That if there's the vehicle or any public service vehicle that is carrying excess, they should uh, be penalized for that. So that is to make an environment good for us. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking your time to be here. I know majority of the people are getting prepared to celebrate the Christmas. I know going to the overnight, so many people will be, there are those who will be merry, going for those disco matanga. If you're one person that stays in the village, there are those disco matangas that has been organized whereby people can come and celebrate. There are those who will be going for overnight prayers in the churches and all that. Just be very careful wherever you are, because you never know who is after you, or the intention of anybody. Okay, we're not going to take much, but we want to look at few areas in politics that we saw during this week, or even today. And there's something that had really caught my attention. And we can also speak about it. I don't know whether you've met it, or you've come across it on the internet. There's an elderly woman claims two of Raila Odinga's children are not biologically his, and this is something that has taken internet by storm. The photos are going round, identifying herself as Glaudensia Adeyo. She alleges that Ida Odinga was unfaithful during Raila's 1980s imprisonment, fathering Fidel and Winnie Odinga by one of Raila's brothers, and claims torture left Raila infertile. Though verified birth dates show Fidel born in 1973 before the main prison term, the video also raises unproven ideas about Raila uh, 20 October 15, 2025 death by poisoning in Kenya, despite hospital confirmation of cardiac arrest in India. Online resources a mixed reaction. So this is something that has been going on. This is not allegation that she's making. To me, I tend, when such like allegation come, I decided to go and at least dig deep about this lady's life. When you look at around the 70s, she was a political activist, and at some point she ran for a parliamentary seat with Kanu ticket in those sides of Siaya. So she's not somebody who is very new, and from what he takes. So I'm taking this angle. I think this is political. And the reason why I'm saying it is political, or either somebody might be using her to push some agenda. Because one, she's very intellectual. That is one thing that we know from the look of things and the way she speaks. She seems like somebody who went to good school, and her eloquence is at the highest. So to me, that is my take. Maybe you will weigh your thoughts on that. So that is one of the things that also is trending on the internet. Another thing that is trending on the internet is about Musalia Mudavadi, and Musalia Mudavadi is making some few suggestions here that are not making sense to me, or maybe you will weigh your thoughts, and at least you can also give your thought on it. That he was saying that as we are going to go in the general election, it should come into package of one with the referendum, so that we can fix some governance issue. One, and also talking about cost, and this happened when he was having an interview with the Champs Media, So that is something that also really caught my attention, why should we do the referendum? So those are some of the things that also are making headlines. Let me just find another one that is making headlines. As you know, there's also, when you go to Mount Kenya, Gunjiri Wambugu go after Rigathi Gachagua. Wambugu goes after Rigathi Gachagua as he dares him to do this after Kindiki pulled crowds on Christmas Eve. So it is still politics of supremacy and the politics of numbers. Yeah, so that is something that also is taking place if you go to the sides of Mount Kenya. This is another one that also we can also talk about. ODM politician announces plans to quit, will run for re-election under a different party ticket. And this was captured yesterday, if you're very keen on the internet, when the Suba North, Honorable Omondi Karoli was having an interview with one of the major TV stations, and that is what he said, that he might not run. He promised he's not going to run on ODM ticket, and he raised so many questions about the ODM. So that is something that also is in High Court seek. This is another one. High Court enjoins AG LSK in petition seeking to halt election pending boundary review. So it's all about election. Governor Wanga, ODM is ready to capture power in 2027. That is what Governor Wanga says. That is also another trending. Kalonzo Musyoka now sends urgent message to Ida, Winnie, and Edwin Sifuna. Yesterday, Kalonzo was having some pressure, some celebration, and he went after Ruto, questioning the Singapore. How will we actualize the Singapore? He was criticizing President William Ruto Singapore narrative. So those are kind of like a few that are trending right now, that we've decided to give our attention. So, but I think we still have time to go. Edwin Sifuna has negotiated with the United Opposition. This is somebody who was giving um, his opinion concerning about Edwin Sifuna, that he has negotiated with the opposition so that they can have go to the opposition. And this was done by none other than the Kileleshwa MCA, that is Robert Alai, was saying that is what he was accusing Sifuna of. That also Makore also today went after Sifuna. So there's so much that is going on in ODM party. So those are some of the things that are making headline on my side. Maybe Makobura, if you have anything, then Miguda, we can also share with us.
I think you've captured then everything that I'd also seen.
Yeah.
Maybe as we will be having a discussion, maybe something else will just trigger up, and we will, of course, address that.
All right, thank you so much. I'm seeing Tommy Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us. Shaima Hussein, how are you doing? It's quite long. I've not seen you for a while now. Hope Christmas and this festive holiday you are doing fine. And Judith Karuitha also, thank you so much for joining. Miguda, do you have any news on your side that is that you'd let our viewers to know?
I just want to reiterate on one which you have mentioned concerning the claims by a certain woman that the son or the daughter are not biological of Raila Amolo Odinga the late. I just want to emphasize on the issue you have said that that's a very good analysis, because if you want to find out the one who claim or allege, you must go back to the historical background of that person before you come to conclusion.
Yeah.
You have said she is intellect, and someone who is intellect actually understands what she is pushing at that particular time. So it might be politically motivated because of the historical. And even if you want to look at the bills in parliament which are being brought each and every day, you must always look at who is sponsoring this bill. Then you understand it better that, okay, if this person so and so, therefore must be well thought out. That is politically motivated by other people, maybe to tame the rise of Winnie Odinga, maybe to tame the rise of Mama Aida, as I'm understanding it as a political analyst. At the same time, that person has been there quite a long time. Why is it that up now is when she's coming out to issue such allegation? And lastly, many people have been in detention. Raila is not the first and last to be detained. We have seen people coming from the prison and they're having children. And that is now up to the medical expert to prove to us something beyond imagination. You cannot just purport that the children I have are not mine until there is an expert to prove. So I think maybe, and you understand the issues to do with medical are also confidential and no one can disclose to that extent. To me, I can just see it as a political motivated, someone might be pushing narrative. They know how to.
All right, thank you so much. Miguda, they're saying your volume is not low a little bit. You're not audible. Maybe when you'll be coming with your second submission or on the round of submission, just try to at least give us some volume so our viewers could get what you are saying. I tend to agree with Miguda, especially when you look at this, the older lady and what she's doing. Maybe it is because of hunger, or there's something that is between her and Mama Ida. So she decided to come to the public to paint Mama Ida as one of not a very good woman. But this is coming too late. If you look at Winnie, for instance, where she kind of like pointed out at Winnie is more or less like is having. We call them the phenotype. When you were in class, Makubura, you can remember when you are doing the mutation, there's what we call the phenotype. I don't know, there's the genotype and the phenotype. Phenotype is usually like the physical, that the physical you'd see you and your parents. There's something that somebody would see in you that is quite of resemblance. So I think that is something that there's a narrative, and I'm convinced this lady, she's intellectual. She's not just this old lady. She's not just any other ordinary lady that you might meet on the street. This is somebody who is well educated, somebody who went through education. And if you look at her background, at some point back in the days, she used to wrestle with other men. Like these are the first kind of women who really fought for their space, especially in the African traditional space, whereby women did not find that space. But she really fought it to an extent of, in the 70s, she was running, or she was running for a parliamentary seat with Kanu ticket, and she was defeated. So it tells you this is somebody who knows what he's doing. He knows everything that's doing, or there's somebody that is after, as you said, that the political, and maybe they know that maybe they fear that maybe Mama Ada is having something that she might make a pronouncement, then from there might shift kind of like direction in politics. So that is what somebody is trying to paint, or they think just to paint Mama. But everybody has lived with Mama Ida. Even the story, the historians could have written anything about Mama Ida, about the absence of Raila Amolo Odinga and that. So to me, I would ningepuzilia hayo, but because of the politics, those who are not supporting Mama Ida will go with it because that is their strongest point right now, and that is what they're going to do. And before I invite in Makobura, there's also something that I told you about Kasmuel Makoure. Kasmuel Makoure is a youth in ODM, and this is Edwin Sifuna. You must decide whether you want to be the Secretary General of ODM or a village elder advancing the interest of your political enemies and detractors. This is a warning from the youth to you and the leaders of your ink. That is what Makoure is addressing Sifuna on. So ODM is having issues because, like, look at what Makoure is addressing Sifuna. I read to you also. Alai also was also accusing Sifuna of selling or wants to work with ODM. This is what Omondi Karoli said. The quite much that is happening. I quote Omondi Karoli. Raila told us not to say two-term, and if any MP wants to contradict that, let them try, and we will tell them where they were told so. Only Atandi raised his hand, saying, I'm also a member of the budget committee. Allow me to sometimes say this. But Baba instruction were that only Mbadi Wandai should say two terms. The rest is no. That is Karoli Omondi. I'm quoting him. That is something that I've really got. So, Makubura, now, the issue of ODM now is taking center stage, and something that we have to agree here that as we speak, even if we talk about those cracks in ODM, or if we can say that members are not listening to one another and all that, there is one thing that we have to agree, that there is somebody who wants to sell ODM. Because the reason why I'm now tending to believe or saying that, based on what has happened. This issue was started by Winnie Odinga, the MP for Yala, especially when ODM was celebrating it at 20. And he said that there are those who are working with us, but at night they want to sell our party. It will not happen. And it has always been. And yesterday, the day yesterday, Orengo, Sifuna, and Osotsi also said the same, that there's somebody who wants to sell ODM. And what does this one mean for ODM, despite the fact that the TIFA results or the TIFA survey has given it as the most popular party right now, Mr. Makobura? And how is this one going to affect this party, Makobura? Take it.
Thank you so much. I would like to first give my opinion on the woman who is claiming to be knowing quite a lot about the Odinga family. I think one thing that we should also understand is that she said, if you've heard her or if you followed her, there is a narration that she's giving that she was also a wife to the late Jaramogi Oginga Odinga.
Mm-hmm.
There's a narrative that she brought up, and I was trying to just understand what she meant, but apparently I realized that it was partly true. If you remember, she was talking about, the British wanted to bribe, I don't know, the wife to Jaramogi to poison him, and then they acted it in a smart way. I was trying to check on that, and I partly found that something similar to that was there, but I really didn't get deep into it. So there's bit of history that she knows,
Mm-hmm.
and one thing that I'm not sure of is whether she was really a wife of Jaramogi or not. But with time, of course, we'll get to know the truth.
Yeah.
But I'm also surprised on the fact that she's more aware of the history and what is happening within the Odinga family. And I think that the only question that came into my mind is that somebody of her age, because I'm quite sure she's 65 and above, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The question that is coming into my mind is, at 65, would somebody bribe you to give a wrong narrative or to try to look for some attention at that particular age? But again, I say it is possible because we are all human beings, and human beings can be lured depending on the interest that they have
Mm-hmm.
in life.
Yeah.
The allegation about the child, Fidel and Winnie, on my side, I can't really say anything about it because that is a confirmation that can only be done by the accused persons if they are willing and they want to get to know what
Mm-hmm.
really is the truth
Yeah.
about the DNA and all those kind of things. So that I'll leave it at that point. But one thing I can say is that if suppose it is not true, then I would advise that we should respect family line and we should respect individuals, because if you are a 40 or 30 something and then somebody comes telling you that so and so is not your parent,
Mm-hmm.
and remember these are people you've grown up with, having known very well that they are your parents and they've never revealed or told you anything, it
Mm-hmm.
brings what we call a mental torture and of course um, emotional torture, and it is something that should be addressed with maximum with maximum respect. And that
Okay.
is what I say about that.
Okay, and then just only to conclude this, because Makobura, when such issues come to the public, you have to give it the face value. The face value is what is being said. But as somebody that has been here, it's in terms of politics, and look at the history of Jaramogi, the Jaramogi's family. There's so much into it that you'll have to agree with me, especially. Remember, even immediately after Winnie talked about talked about that the negotiation of that people should relook into the agreement that was signed between the Right Honorable Prime Minister and President William Ruto concerning the broad-based government, And later then, the Oburu came and had an interview, and it was on the Nation, if I'm one of the dailies, So, apart from the political part of it, you can also look at it in another angle. These are just like our opinion. We are just thinking that maybe it also boils down to the family, you know, the family issues and the inheritance of wealth and all that. So anything can play part, because as you said, that there were those allegations that she was the Jaramogi's wife, and at some point, he was accusing Mama that he talked to Governor of Kisumu to demolish some of the houses of railways. There's quite much a lot that he was saying, but I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that uh, the intention, there must be something that is intended. There's something that they are going at, because I do not think even somebody in his normal senses, Makobura, if you know that something of the sort happened, because I can take you back to the traditional ways of life, especially in the Luo community, how it used to happen, and like that was the least we are expecting from an elderly person to say something like that, if indeed the allegation that she's saying is true. But like, you should have that respect, So to me, there's something that this is driving at. This is a calculated move and wants to achieve a specific objection or objective. I mean objective. And it will achieve, because it has now brought it into the limelight and the public is having conversation about it. Yeah. So what does this one do? So sometimes it might question the rise of Winnie Odinga, because Winnie Odinga is coming up. 2, it also question about the Raila family. 3, you can even look at the Oginga's family. What is happening within the Jaramogi's family, internal wrangles. So anything is possible, but there is one objective that there's something that this will achieve. Yes, Miguda.
I just wanted to talk about, if they can hear me right now. I think my volume has been adjusted. I've given my opinion. I've given my opinion concerning the issue of that mama. That she's very intellect and it is politically motivated, and it has to be objective to achieve certain goal. That is now left for them to undertake.
Yeah.
What I want to say about the issue of Karoli Omondi and Kasmir Makowure attacking SG's Edwin Sifuna. Karoli, in his world, is a realist. From the experience he has undergone. Karoli were the founders of ODM. Karoli is certainly sure that even if he wins free, fair, squarely, they are going to deny him the ticket. And the enemy, the one for Karoli, is the current CS John Mbadi. You understand, Karoli succeeded Mbadi. Right now, Mbadi friend, who is called Alice somebody, he has been fronted to vie for the Suba South constituency member of parliament. She's being sponsored right now. She's campaigning.
Yeah.
It's like Mbadi has failed a competitor against Karoli, and in all his right senses is aware. So Karoli has seen it being fit for him to look for an alternative, because the end game is parliament. How I get to parliament, that's none of your business. Even if I use MDG, what
Yeah.
David Ochieng used to in Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
Today is the member of parliament for Uganda with MDG, is not in ODM. Even
Yeah.
if I do independent, I'll be there like Fatuma Mohammed, the women rep for Migori County, who is there with independent. So how Karoli will get parliament is not an issue.
Yeah.
Because that is what's happening in ODM. And in the realist world,
Yeah.
there's no fair nomination going to be conducted by ODM. That's why it's quite important for people to start realigning. The issue of Caswell Makoure might be someone's spokesperson, someone's mouthpiece, because he might be promised a nomination or a ticket. Now, as a young man, as a young person who is too ambitious, can do things, because in the real sense, there are people in ODM,
Yeah.
the experienced people, but they have kept off. They don't attack SG Edwin Sifuna. What is it that Kasmuel must attack SG Edwin Sifuna, even in the real world? It means that if you do this for me, I'll give you nomination. Because of too much ambitious, he want to prove to the owner that he can back to more than anybody. What I want to say is that this politics, some people are in it, but they don't understand it. Because when Gashaga was being, Ndindi Nyoro spoke in Kikuyu, and I was having a very good friend of mine, a Kikuyu friend today. He actually translated for me what Ndindi Nyoro said in their local radio station or TV.
Yeah.
Ndindi Nyoro said that during the reign of Uhuru Kenyatta, when Gashaga was being apprehended by the Matiangi administration, he used to leave the phone at his place, but he used to spend night at Ndindi Nyoro's place. So when Ruto called Ndindi Nyoro, and Ruto promised Nyoro that once we impeach Gachagua, I will give you the position of the deputy president, then Ndindi Nyoro refreshed and said, I cannot go, there's a limit. I cannot do that to my brother, because someone whom I protected during his worst moment, then I'll be the first person to crucify him. So Ndindi Nyoro back off. And Ndindi Nyoro explained that many people are promised deputy president position, including Irun Kangata, Kimani Chungwa. That's why Kimani Chungwa was in the front line with the Mutuse. So it's like William Ruto promised many people that once we impeach him, I'll give you. He was calling them by individual, one by one. You come, we impeach him, and lastly, he ended up giving it to Kindiki. So Ndindi Nyoro was saying this issue of promising many people one position, but actually, you know that you are not going to give them. That is conduct. That's why I want to tell you this issue of Kasmuel. And that's why Wanga today is saying ODM is going to fill a candidate in 2027, because he was promised the deputy president position, but right now it is not materializing. Many people have been promised. So I can say my good friend and comrade Kasmuel Makoure might be promised something, but in politics, you don't wait for what you have been promised. It's better to square it right now, because that this is politics. There's no honesty. And I can just promise you for me to fight my opponents. Then once I've used you as a bridge to cross, then I'll dump you. And so we are appealing to our young people and comrades, as we join politics, or as we join our older citizens in the nation and experienced citizens, we should not be misled, but we should be given the right direction.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. Simba, habari gani?
Salama sana brother Ben.
Uko vipi? Christmas umetuandalia nini, ama tunasafiri nyumbani ama tuko tu mjini?
Mimi niko nyumbani. Na unajua nyumbani wakati wa Christmas vile kunakaa.
Ungetuita.
lakini sasa najua kila mtu ako kona ya mbali kidogo. Kama tungekuwa wote hapa karibu ingekuwa vizuri, lakini mimi niko pande hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Oh, okay. Alright, asante sana. Sasa kuna mjadala ambao tulikuwa nayo hapa na ni ile tu baadhi za habari ambazo zilikuwa zinatembea pale mtandaoni kuhusu mama huyu ajuza, ama mama ambayo umri wake umeenda zaidi kulingana na matamshi ambayo anatoa, kulingana na familia ya Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga. Sana sana maneno yake alitupia pale lawama mama yetu Ida. We labda kikiako kutaka kuangalia kisiasa zaidi, we maoni yako ni vipi?
Jambo la kwanza, ni aibu kubwa sana kwa mama kama yule, na yule mama peke yake hakukaa chini akawa ananasa ile kanda na kuiweka katika mtandao. Nafikiria ile ni hypocrisy, sio eti ni jambo ambalo linaweza chukuliwa eti ni jambo lenye liko na uzito wote na binadamu yeyote mwenye ako na akili timamu.
Okay, sawa, endelea.
Kwangu mambo yote yule mama ajuza aliyaongea siku yaona yakiwa na umuhimu, kuanzia Robert huko ukuje sijui Biwote ukuje sijui nini. Haya mambo yote ni mambo ya kipusi tu.
Unadhani kwamba kuna siasa ndani yake?
Ile sio siasa. Mimi siwezi nikasema ni siasa. Ile ni unajua mwanasiasa yeyote ama mtu yeyote maarufu hakosi wale watu ambao wanakuanga na chuki na yeye. Ile ni chuki tu yenye haingeweza kutoka wakati kiongozi wa chama cha chungwa akiwa hai. Ile ilikuwa ni kama kejeli tu. Ni mtu kama alikuwa anataka kuscore card, lakini sasa ndio nilikwambia mimi personally siwezi nikalipatia hata sikio. Nilisikiza nikasikia hiyo upusi yote nikasema hii ni haina maana hata. Hiyo ni ile alikuwa anaita mafia kuku.
Ile ya Kibaki. Okay, asante sana. Okay, kwa sababu we ni mwanachama, kuna baadhi ya vitu ambazo zimetokea wiki hii, hata leo ambapo tunazungumza tumeona kwamba leo hii yule tuseme kwamba Kasmuel Makoure amepatiana onyo Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, na kuna hii mambo ya kuuza chama ambapo imekuwa ni mambo ambayo inajadiliwa sana na mambo ambayo limesemwa. Winnie alisema na imekuwa ni mambo inasema, na jana pia tukaona, juzi tu nikaona Orengo, Sifuna, Osotsi wamesema pale wakiwa Lugari. Je, mambo haya ni ya kisiasa ama ni jambo ambalo liko na labda wataki kuongelea kama chama? Na kama liko, mbona wasikae chini kama wanachama na wazungumze, waseme bana wacha
Mimi unajua nimekupata, na kwanza kabisa nilikuambia jambo la kwanza, Winnie aheshimu babake mdogo Oburu. Msimamo wa Oburu ni msimamo wa Raila Odinga. Ya pili, Edwin Sifuna Edwin Sifuna sio Edwin Sifuna, na sio kwamba yeye alijijenga. Anakumbuka kwamba Nairobi ni cosmopolitan. Hata wakati alijaribu Bungoma, mahali ambapo anaweza ongea Kibukusu, hawakumsikiza. Jambo la kwanza. So alipata hiyo position na ya chama na uwakilishi yenye anawakilisha kama seneta ya Nairobi kupitia kwa chama na kiongozi wetu hayati Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, na Mungu airehemu roho yake palipo wengi. So haya yote yenye anayoyaongea kwa sasa, mimi naweza nikayaita unajua kuna ile mchezo tulikuwa tunaenda kucheza tukiwa vijana wadogo, mahali tulikuwa tunachunga ng'ombe. Sifuna bado wako katika hiyo kategori kisiasa. Hajaelewa siasa ya nchi mahali inaenda. Na by the way, yeye amechelewa kwa sababu yeye ile kitu yenye anafanya ni kutisha ili afanyiwe kitu Magerere Ragati alifanyiwa ama Babu na Mwamba, na akitaka kujua chama hiki chama cha chungwa ni chama cha wananchi na wako wanaangalia, na siku itakapofika akifungiwa kwa kona mahali atashindwa mahali pa kutokea.
Okay, labda tu kama bado sija wa kumwalika Marco Bura na Miguda, labda na kama chama nyinyi, chama cha ODM ni chama ambacho kinajulikana kama ni chama cha demokrasia, ambapo kila mtu anafaa atoe wazo lake, ama kila mtu anafaa aseme jambo lolote ambalo labda yeye anaona kama iko sawa. Na mbona jambo ambalo Edwin Sifuna anasema inapingwa na yale ambayo labda inasema na mtu fulani haipingwi? Na hata leo nikizungumzia Kalori Omondi, wakati alikuwa na mahojiano, alisema kwamba baba aliwaonya wanachungwa wote kwamba kuna mambo ya two term, na mtu mmoja tu ambapo aliinua mkono ilikuwa ni Atandi, na baba akawaambia mtu ambaye anaweza kuwa anasema two term ni Badi na Opiyo Wandayi. Mbona haya nayo hatuwezi sikiliza, ama mbona hawa zinapuuziliwa?
Brother Ben, unajua kuna mambo mengi sana hapa nyinyi huwa mnaruka. Na nimekuwa hapa nikisema mambo mengi sana kuhusu mambo ya succession ya kisiasa, mambo ya chama, ile Raila aliandaa wafuasi wake. Hayo hayataki kuonekana. Demokrasia ni inatakiwa iwe kwa wale watu ambao ni kama remnants. Hapana. Sisi tunajua kwamba, na hili jambo nimelisema hapa kila wakati. Mbona watu mtu akikuacha mahali fulani na wewe uko mahali fulani na unasema kwamba mimi nilikuja hapa peke yangu, na iliali mulionekana mchana mkiwa na huyo mtu mpaka mahali mulikuwa hapo, ambapo tunapaita broad based government. Hakuna mtu alifungwa na kamba akapelekwa huko. Sisi tunajua kuachwa pale na kiongozi wetu, na hapo ndio tuko. Hiyo mbona watu hawakatai?
Okay, asante sana ndugu yangu. Bado najua tutakuwa na maswali mengi kukuuliza kuhusu hayo. Marco Bura, thank you so much, and we are looking at this issue because this is now becoming too much, especially in ODM. If that trust is not amongst themselves, why can't they, the officials themselves, call a meeting and they iron out these issues, rather than coming into the public where we are seeing some people want to sell ODM, some people are not selling ODM, some people, why can't they call that meeting as members of the party and say that, okay, this is what is happening. What is your view? What is your view? Then they come out with one agreement and say that, okay, this is how we are going to handle these issues, rather than seeing people like Kasmuel Makoure attacking Sifuna. We are seeing Sifuna also saying that ODM is not for sale. It's like it is like a field of political prowess, that who says more or who have the power. What is not happening? Why can't they sit down?
Okay, fine, thank you. I'd like to give my opinion first on the remarks by the young man Kasmuel Makoure. If you remember how Edwin Sifuna got the position of the Secretary General, it wasn't something that was planned. Of course, he came and took over. And I think if you've ever heard of this term that Telo Okminga to Telo Ikao, translated to leadership is not given, it is taken.
Yes.
That is the formula that was used by Edwin Sifuna and his team to get into that particular position. But again, since he took that position of Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna has grown and has attracted quite a number of good supporters. And he has also grown politically to an extent that today, if Edwin Sifuna talks, he is listened to, he is seen as a threat, he is seen as, let me say, a kingmaker or a political kingmaker.
Yeah.
That is how he's currently being viewed. But of course, the truth of the matter is that although he has gotten courtesy of the position that he was given in ODM, and of course, based on the fact on how he has led in that particular position. Somebody like Samuel Makohure is looking into this particular position.
Yeah.
And since he has analyzed how Edwin Sifuna did take this position, and he has also seen that quite a number of leaders within ODM are not really okay with the moves of Edwin Sifuna, he is presenting himself as that alternative. And that is why you will see that certain leaders would be advocating for him to take that particular position, not forgetting he was becoming a close confidant of Raila Amolo Odinga, and of late he has also been seen moving around with the president. In one way or another, he might get full support of both the government side and all those people who believes that William Samoei Ruto is the right candidate for 2027.
Okay.
My opinion again on Edwin Sifuna is that on his remarks about ODM that it is not being sold. What I can say, ODM is currently having two factions. A faction that believes that ODM is not supposed to be in government and that they have full time to operate within the opposition, and upon them operating on the opposition side, they will still succeed in the politics of the future politics of the Republic of Kenya. That is a group led by the likes of Sifuna, James Orengo, Deputy Party Leader Osotsi, among others. But again, there's also this other side that believes that they are currently enjoying life. And for them to maintain enjoying that kind of life, they have no alternative but to continue supporting this government. And they also understand one thing, that they cannot defeat William Samoei Ruto. That team comprises of the governor of Homa Bay, amongst others. So the only challenge you're seeing here, and the truth that we can say, is that ODM is going to break into two, and it is not going to break. It has already broken into two, and there is no one who can mend the fences that are already broken. And again, I can tell you, that is why you're seeing quite a number of leaders, the likes of Karoli. You know, Karoli was a confidant of Raila Amolo Odinga, worked in the office of Raila Amolo Odinga,
He
not
was the
once,
chief of
but for
staff.
several. Yeah, but for several years. If you see the likes of Karoli coming out to say that they are not planning to vie under the ODM ticket, then that's a clarification that ODM is on its deathbed. And again, members of ODM, and especially the leaders, there is a way they've divided themselves. There are those who believes that they own the ODM and they're going to continue with the structures that were left, and that if you are not in good terms with the top leadership or those within the cabinet position or the side that is being supported with the government, then you are not supposed to belong in that particular party. That is why quite a number of leaders are going to leave ODM, and all those are significant, political clarification of what awaits ODM. One thing I can say is that it is beyond repair from what I'm seeing. It is beyond repair. The only person who had the capability of mending the fences was one Raila Amolo Odinga. Up to where it is currently, I can tell you ODM is divided. ODM is going on its way. There are two political parties within ODM. That is what I can say.
All right, thank you so much. This is Brother Benson Media. If you're new here, you can always subscribe to the channel so that when we are having such like conversation, you can join us. We do also offer quite services like event streaming. So if you have an event and you want us to participate in stream living, you can also contact us. Then we can offer you that service at pocket friendly. We have very good team that are in charge of live streaming. Let me see what our good friend Nyamu KM saying, at Brother Benson, Sifuna was sourced by... Yes, that is one thing I want to say, Makobura. I think Wanyonyi is really bringing it here. Not Wanyonyi, but Nyamuke. Sifuna was sourced by Anyang' Nyong'o from Standard newspaper as a columnist and presented to Raila Amolo Odinga SG to take over from Nyong'o, and Raila agreed. Sifuna did not take it over. Yeah, if you look at how Sifuna came to ODM, especially Sifuna came through Anyang' Nyong'o, and if you are very keen, you look at how ODM is, you know, Nyong'o really loves Sifuna, and that's why, remember when he was the interim chair during the time when the Right Honorable Prime Minister was vying for AU chairmanship, he said that Sifuna speaks the position of the party. So that is there. Miguda, when you look at ODM and you compare it to these other political parties, ODM is the only political party that has structures. You know, there are structures, they have structures, especially. And as compared to these other political parties, that if you look at with all those structures, can somebody just wake up one day and decide that, okay, I'm going with ODM to support this person or not to, or to sell it? I mean, selling is maybe taking the support of ODM, because I don't think that you can buy ODM. We have people like Aduro Ngwen, they are there. They cannot just allow you. But the support, to give support to whoever they want. With all those structures, do you think it's possible? Hello, Miguda. Okay, Makobura, we're not getting Miguda. Makobura, I think one of the things that now, if I would want to talk about ODM, it's about power, you know, and it's like people are rushing into conclusion, which I think like some of the ODM members do not like, especially working with the president or offering support to President William Ruto. No, and I think this can be as a result of, remember when ODM worked with the Jubilee during the campaign, all the things that Jubilee did not do well, especially ODM was paying those one, remember, you know. And what is going to happen right now, maybe what these other factions do fear is that if they support blindly the president, because like there are so many questions that people are raising about the administration of President William Ruto, and if ODM goes ahead and support them without them coming into a better agreement, maybe they will also be part of the failures and part of the things that the president has done well. And something also that the ODM members also have to know, especially in the Kenyan politics, Makobura, is one. In Kenyan politics today, there is no way in which a single party can form a government. There's no way. And what should happen is that they should form coalition. Yeah. And the main aim of forming coalition is to capture power. So maybe they're evaluating, maybe some of the ODM are evaluating or have studied the ground, they've seen the place whereby they feel they can be in the government or they can win election. And maybe they feel it is with President William Ruto. And maybe those who also feel like the UDA is not the perfect party match for them to merge with, you know. So that is what is bringing all this wars. And another thing also that also we are seeing ODM is forgetting about the 10-point agenda. They are so much focused about 2027. The 10-point agenda is not something that is being mentioned. Yes, Miguda, at some point we gave you, but you could not speak. Now, maybe you can weigh in your thoughts. Then we can go and look at going towards 2027. We have two presidential candidates, that is Fred Okengo Matiangi and His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, who can stop the re-election of President William Ruto. Yes, Miguda, can you weigh your thoughts on ODM as we proceed to the next discussion?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
I was saying ODM is a party of some few people.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen circumstances whereby people have won nomination, but they haven't been issued with the party certificates. That one has been there. We have seen popular people being denied because of their contrary opinion
Yeah.
with the then party leader and
Mm-hmm.
other officials.
Mm-hmm.
Even party chairperson Mbadi was denied certificate from Mabei gubernatorial. I
Yeah.
don't believe that ODM can just decide to support somebody who is not known to them or an alien. ODM will only support allies, those
Mm-hmm.
people whom they are comfortable with. But
Mm-hmm.
any person who is having a different opinion or divergent, who is a threat to
Mm-hmm.
the organization, will be fought. It will be a tooth and nail fight. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I don't see them supporting someone who is not within the inner circle. And people who came by chances, like Karoli Omondi, who came after Mbadi was denied certificate, and now time was not enough for Mbadi to go to the constituency because already he has bid for the gubernatorial in the county. Coming back to the constituency was like lowering his rank.
Ni mimi
Therefore,
ama namsikia mbele jamani?
people like Karoli Omondi
Mm-hmm.
got their way to parliament. They are being fought to date. People like David Ochieng, who went there without ODM,
Mm-hmm.
they are being fought to date. ODM is not friendly to the alien, and going forward, just like we have said, that ODM cannot win elections by itself. No party can win. The future of this country is coalitions. If the future is coalitions, how do you get into a coalition? A strategic coalition, a coalition that is going to win elections.
Yeah.
That's
For
how the
you.
discussion should be there. But I tend to agree with Karoli Modi. I told Makubra yesterday, like, me, I want to be a member of parliament, for example, and you are denying me an opportunity in the ODM party. I must seek for alternatives. I can go for
Yeah.
independent or other political party, but the objective is that I want to be a member of parliament. They are making it to be like that. The only way to parliament is ODM. I disagree. I tend to disagree that the only way to God or to heaven is Christ. But when it comes to politics, it is not the only way. There is option, and I've just cited two individuals, the Ugenya lawmaker and the Migori County women rep. They are in that parliament without ODM tickets. Therefore, the idea of Karolo Mondi is very significant when we're discussing it here because he has seen it earlier and introduced the discussion a bit earlier for people who are still dilly-dallying in the party, thinking that the party will be friendly to them. The party will not be friendly to the alliance. And you understand what Osoti said, that Jalas, already we have chased you in the ODM. You cannot speak for the ODM. So the
Mm-hmm.
people who are perceived to be the foes of the party by that time, to date, they haven't been they haven't been granted
Or accommodated.
leeway
You know.
or accommodated. They haven't been accommodated to date. It's a
Mm-hmm.
clear indication that there are people who believe that ODM belong to them. And there is a people who believe that once you are a full just Raila, you have no option. So the only way to get certificate is to be a sycophant and a loyal soldier. But I disagree again because why do we have democracy in that ODM? Because the party believe in social justice, inclusivity, opinion, views. I can disagree with you, but it doesn't mean that we cannot work together. We can disagree even here
Mm-hmm.
on this panel, but we can look for each other at back door. Then we see on how to improve ourselves. But this issue that once I disagree with you, you outrule me, you must, the issue of still accommodation, you must ask me, how do you want us to do, like Carol Modi, he should be accommodated and it should be brought on the board and asked, what is your problem? What do you want? What do you foresee? So that they can embrace, those ideas, and they can embrace those divergent opinion or those critics, rather than once you critique, they have outruled you, they will find themselves with a fewer members. Because when we talk about bringing people together, and there I want to agree with Winnie that we cannot preach unity when we, the people or the leaders, we are divided amongst themselves, or the leaders do not want some people, like the issue of Babu Owino. That leadership don't want him, and they are saying, we Luos or we ODM, let us be together, let us not separate. But you don't want your lawmaker, you don't want your members. So it's very simple. Either you accommodate us, our opinions, but if you don't do so, people like Karole Mondi are issuing alternative routes, not only ODM.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Miguda, for your contribution. And this is what Nyamu KM said. Greed can't allow some ODM leaders to champion the 10-point agenda. Tumbo ni more important. Okay, Sawa, thank you for that. And thank you so much for your contribution. I saw our good friend Musimamo, and he has dropped again. There's something that Miguda, you spoke about the Ndindi Nyoro and the president, and in the local radio station. I also captured it. And Ndindi was giving the main reason why his political relation, especially with President William Ruto, really took a different turn. And this is because of the promising of the position. And you know, that has always been the politics of the day in our country, whereby if you have to do something, that there's something that I'm promising you. And what is being promised is position, but you don't look at the how is that one going to benefit the country. So it is a politics of self individualism, and we call it self-centered, especially in our politics. Especially, let's say, like me and you, we don't agree, and what is going to happen, and you have somebody who is quite much stronger than me. What happens that is, if you can do this for me, for you to defeat even Benson, this is what I'm going to give you. So there's a price tag, that we have a politics of price tag. So you cannot do something for your country without a price tag laid on it. And I think the issue of politics of price tag, this is what is happening even within the ODM, because like most of the time you listen to some of them, they're saying that we want more positions, we want more positions. And you look at that, how is more positions going to translate to the services delivery of the people? Because the position does not deliver services. Somebody can be given position and is not performing, but provided that it gives the outlook of the nation, like so and so is there. And so that is something that is there. And also there's this notion that this is the first time that especially the majority of the people from the lake are in government. That is not true. That is a political statement. People like Oloa Ringo, Ndoloaya, they've been in government. Robert Ouko, all leaders, have been in government, even including Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, So the notion that this is the first time that the Luo community or that the Luo community are enjoying the government, no, it's not the first time. They've always been the Luo community in the government, including even Omamo himself. Rachel Omamo, the daughter of Omamo, was also in government of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So sometimes, we have to check those facts, but it is politics. Politics, I told you, Miguda, the other day when we were discussing about politics, we came and realized one thing. There's what we call the political elite. Yeah, when we are speaking about political elite, we are not only speaking to the leaders. There are those even the politicians who are leaders, but they are not elite. You know that? They are not elite. But
that's true. They are leaders who are elected, but they're not elites.
They are not political elite. We call them the political masses. Even in the parliament, you cannot tell me. Actually, parliament give us a best example of being political masses. They tend to um, run away from political elite. So I don't think that a majority of all the politicians, we should call them political elite. So as I was saying, the political elite include those who can question. Like if you bring an idea, they would question, and they talk about the numbers, they talk about the facts, they talk about how is this one going to influence what you are doing, especially if you bring anything to do with maybe tax. And they will ask, how is this tax going to work? How beneficial it is for the people, how it is for the country. You cannot just bring tax. So they will question that. Like right now, the president is talking about the Singapore narrative. There are people who are questioning the Singapore narrative and how is it going to work. And they say that this is not working. So those who tend to question about the narrative of Singapore, the way president is doing it, and reflecting back and say that no, this is not how these Asian giants really reached where they were. There are some of the foundations that they laid. People have talked about corruption. People have talked about investing in education. And people are talking about, if you look at those countries, they have majority of their companies who are outside the country that generates for them income, remember? And also some of them are port cities. They are with the smallest population. So there's so many things that people are putting in consideration. Those I would call the political elites who are asking for numbers, and they say that no, the route that we are taking is not working. But the political masses are driven by emotions. They will say this is Singapore, and they will not question. And they are the majority, especially when it comes to voting. So that is something that I was just trying to clarify. Let me say another thing this Nyamu is saying for us. I saw a clip of some Ugenya resident chanting one time, when things are changing. Yeah, there are quite a number of people who still don't believe in the broad-based government. And when they say, see government officials, the other time also, I saw Ruku also had it time, Alfred Mutua had it time. So there are some places that, especially the leaders from the national government, especially when they are addressing the gatherings, they still find it very hard to do that. They will get those chants and that one. So thank you very much for that. And Makobura, we want to look at two politicians, if you look at in the united oppositions, that from the look of things, they tend to be the people who are in the front run. Especially I'm talking about His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, and we're also talking about His Excellency Fred Okengo Matiangi. These are the front runners, especially in the opposition. We know Rigathi Gachagua has quite a number of influence, but as it stands, it still has some court battles to settle about his impeachment. He's still kind of like trying to exhaust all the avenues to make sure that he's convinced about his impeachment. So right now, we are looking at Fred Okengo Matiangi and Kalonzo Musyoka. And we look at these two gentlemen. If you put them, if election were held today, which one of them, that is Kalonzo Musyoka and Fred Okengo Matiangi, would win would stop or would stop that re-election of President William Ruto? And to start with Kalonzo Musyoka, because we know of recent past, President William Ruto has gone on attack, especially on Kalonzo Musyoka majority of the time. He has not attacked Fred Okengo Matiangi. So it means his target is Kalonzo Musyoka. But now, let us look in terms of experience when we come to Fred Okengo Matiangi. Makobura, look at the experience that Okengo Matiangi have in politics, and you compare it to that one of President William Ruto. When you look at it, do you think through experience, Fred Okengo Matiangi can stop President William Ruto in terms of political experience?
Politically speaking, in terms of experience, William Samoei Ruto is more experienced in the field of politics. Remember, William Samoei Ruto has never been employed in whichever company. His life ever spent in the political field. being a member of parliament, being a cabinet secretary, that is where being a deputy president, now the president, all his life is spent in the political limelight. So he understands politics very much and he knows how politics is played. But again, Fred Okengo Matiangi, the only advantage that Fred Okengo Matiangi has is that Fred Okengo Matiangi has never been on the political limelight, and then there's this narrative that those who have ever acted on the political environment for long are not very much considerate in terms of delivering matters of they're not delivering in terms of based on what the constitution gives them, or based on the needs of the people. So when Okengo Matiangi was given a chance to to perform as a cabinet secretary, he did it perfectly, and that is what he can rely on. And again, based on that fact, he can rely on that, having in mind that the people of Kenya do not have a good narrative towards the political class. So him having been in the cabinet position, he can hang on the many things that he introduced, on the many things that he aligned, on the many things that, the positive things that assisted the country in one way or another. And of course, that again would give him a better chance to convince the people of Kenya. William Samoei Ruto has a disadvantage that he's ever been in the political limelight, and that the question that the people are asking is that with all those periods that he's ever been in the political limelight, he's ever had power, he's ever been a member of parliament. What did he do as a member of parliament? He's ever been a minister. What is his track record as a minister? He's ever been a deputy president for two good terms. What are his what are the positive things that he did during that period? And again, he cannot today come and start telling the people that he wants to change Kenya to Singapore, having in mind that the people of Kenya are fully aware he's ever been in positions of influencing Kenya. Influencing matters of leadership, influencing the productivity of this country so that it gets to the Singapore level. So all these things are political rhetorics that we are seeing from the president himself, talking about now the Singapore, having known very well that the ASLA thing has been termed by the people of Kenya as a con, as a way of conning the people of Kenya, and they are fully aware of how that particular con was planned and executed. That is why today is coming up again with the Singapore narrative. Depending on the political attacks that the opposition, of course, that is Fred Okengo Matiangi, would come up with, he has a chance to convince the people of Kenya that the current president, he's not fit and cannot take the people of Kenya to the Singapore thing that he's talking about. But again, the president on the other side also has to give a good narration of how he wants to take the people of Kenya to Singapore. If I was on the side, if, for example, I'm currently a neutral person, I'm not supporting either the sides, but I can give you both the positive and the negative sides of both the sides. But if I had the opportunity to be on the opposition side, then I would give an advice that would make Fred Okengo Matiangi to take it easy, the presidential that would make him the president of the Republic of Kenya, because it is easy to fight a politician who is in seat based on facts and also based on the duration that they've been or they've performed or they've held in that particular position.
All right. Thank you so much. And Miguda, how are you doing? Are you still there? Hello, Miguda. Okay, Makubura, when you look at Fred Okengo Matiangi, despite the fact that we might say that Matiangi do not have a political background, remember Matiangi worked under Nyachai at some point in Kisii before he came into the limelight, especially to be a political even to the ministry. He was working with Nyasai, and I think from working with Nyasai, I mean the late Nyasai, I think he also gained some kind of like political experience. That is something that
You know,
also.
you know what, Brother Benson? I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Mm,
Even me, I've never held any political position.
yeah.
But today, if I become a governor of this, whichever county here in Kenya, I'm telling you, make it, I can make it run
Yeah.
perfectly. The
Mm.
question that the people would then ask is, this guy has never been in the political limelight. Which miracle is he using?
Yeah.
There are those people here in the
Mm.
Republic of Kenya who are no nonsense kind
Yeah.
of people. There
Mm.
are people who, when given a chance to run or to do or to execute certain projects, they
Yes.
will do the execution without fear or
Mm.
contradiction or whatsoever.
Yes.
Ruto Kengo Matiangi is that kind of people who are not so good in convincing or
Mm.
talking
Mm.
like the president that we currently have, but they are
Mm.
good in execution. Let me give you an example. If
Mm.
you go to Siaya today, the governor of Siaya, senior counsel James Agri Bob Orengo, he's one of the best legislators that the Republic of Kenya has ever had. He's one of the best lawyers that the lawmakers that Kenya has ever had.
Yeah.
He's one of those lawyers who have debated and assisted the Republic of Kenya in coming up with the best or the good laws that we currently have.
Mm.
And he has a track record, of course, of ever holding, those positions or those particular positions where influence in matters of changing the constitution or coming up with constitutional amendments, he
Yeah.
has ever participated
Mm.
and is very eloquent on that. But if it comes to execution or when it comes to overseeing a project, he's
Yeah.
not that kind of a person. That is why even today, James Orengo is finding it tough. Running the county government of Siaya because he still have that, mentality. He is a fighter. He
Mm.
is a Democrat.
Mhm.
He still has that mentality that as much as he's overseeing, is the CEO of that particular party, he does not want to really focus more on being the CEO bit, execution. He still wants to come on this other side to continue fighting for others. He still wants to poke his nose on how constitution amendments are being done. He still wants to poke his nose and give his narrative on the negative things that he's seeing against the human rights, things
Mhm.
that they have ever fought for. And that is
Correct.
why he cannot fully concentrate in being a CEO. And that is why I can give you another example. Most CEOs, if given the position, for example, of governorship, they will do well. But people who are activists who do so well in this other side of lawmaking, and that is why I'm still saying that Fred Okengo Matiangi is not an activist kind of politician, but he is an executor. He will execute quite a number of things when given
Mhm.
an opportunity and everything are well aligned with instructions that this and this are what is supposed to be done. Is that kind of guy.
All
But
right.
if you come back on the side of the president,
Mhm.
William Samoei Ruto, not once but several times, will give you a narrative, a good narration on how things are supposed to be executed.
Mhm.
But one thing with him is that he'll not do a consistent follow up to ensure that whatever he promises has been executed. He will also promise so much,
Mhm.
knowing in mind that there's no enough capitation or no enough resources needed to do the execution of those particular jobs, but he will not care. He doesn't care. He will give that narration. The
Mhm.
likes of Matiangi will only give you a promise if with the knowledge of what is there, what is possible, and what is not possible. So those are the two kind of people that we are seeing in the presidency of William Samoei Ruto and of course Fred Okengo Matiangi.
All right, thank you so much. I see my brother Msimamo is here, but before I invite him, let me give Miguda, maybe you can brief also give us, when you're talking about the experience, both the experience of Kalonzo Musyoka, Matiangi, because like from all the indication, the TIFA and all that, see that Fred Okengo and Matiangi are the best runners who can confront President William Ruto. But we are speaking about the political experience of Kalonzo Musyoka, President Kalonzo Musyoka and Matiangi. And can Matiangi, for instance, use the experience he had while working with the Nyasai, came work with Uhuru and study all that to put into the political use so that he can be a formidable force, or he can have that to compete against the experience of President William Ruto? Miguda, can that one work?
It depends. You understand that everybody has a past.
Mm-hmm.
Even when we are saying Matiang'i has a past, not only Matiang'i, even William Ruto has a past. William Ruto has a past. Kalonzo has a past.
Mm-hmm.
But if they are the options, what do we do now? Who among them is the better option? That's the discussion. Because we don't have angels here. Everybody has a past, even as we have our past. So if we focus on someone's past too much, of course, it's very important to project future. But even the current president has a past. So who amongst them is the better option? That's the question we're asking. Having said that, I'm advocating for Matiangi presidency. That is not my option. And Marco Bura knows very well that I don't support Matiangi. When I said my mind was just about the River Yala and other issues. Even, me, I'm a victim. When Matiangi sent for us police officers during elections, and there were bullets all over. We were unable to even count our votes. They even brought reinforcement through aircraft, police aircraft. Today, I remember vividly how Matiang'i mistreated us during the Uhuru regime. We were mistreated. At my polling station, I was mistreated by the GSU officers. So up now, I can say Matiang'i has never been an option to me. But based on the question you have asked, right now, considering all the political dynamics, between Matiang'i and Kalonzo, I can give it to Matiang'i, the person who can match President William Ruto. Kalonzo is a weakling. If he cannot even respond to simple questions like the issue of roads, infrastructure, yeah, now William Ruto is just playing around with his mind that, oh, you said it is not 40, it is not 50, it is 40. And even when it was 40 years. So you see such things. But this how Matiang'i has been a puncher. If you follow Matiang'i interview on this
Mm-hmm.
podcast, he has been
Mm-hmm.
punching for
Yeah.
again. There has been a puncher to William Ruto, and William Ruto has been taking his good time to respond to Matiang'i. So to me, Matiang'i is a better option, but there's also other weaknesses we can ascertain. But people like Matiang'i, you understand the constituents where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
They are minority. Kalonzo is a bit having a very good population.
Mm-hmm.
Matiang'i also lack of functional political party. Kalonzo is having Wiper, which current Wiper is having governors. Wiper is having members of parliament, senators, MCS, women rep.
Mm-hmm.
What is Matiang'i having? So Matiang'i doesn't have a functional political party. Matiang'i doesn't have a huge constituency. But because the future is coalition,
Mm-hmm.
Matiang'i must as well come with the whole Kisii rallying behind him. Not only necessarily all of them, but at least a significant number. Then negotiate with the people. According to me, Matiang'i can be embraced across the board
Mm-hmm.
compared to Kalonzo, but it still need to have some coalition partners.
But do you think, and do you
So
think maybe in brief, as it can be embraced, do you think that being embraced can have some effect on the re-election of President William Ruto?
can kindly come.
Can that one have impact on the re-election of President William Ruto?
It can give William Ruto a run for his money, yeah.
Yeah.
But there are some narratives can be decided to be preached to the members of the public, like the issue of Rivayala, like the issue of the one I've just mentioned about the police. But you know, you can't blame Matiangi because at that time, Ruto was the deputy president. So we don't know where these instructions came from. Were they from Uhuru Kenyatta? Were they from William Ruto? Because he secured Uhuru Ruto presidency. He never secured Uhuru presidency. It was a favor to Uhuru and Ruto. So up to right now, we cannot exclude that Ruto was not part and parcel of the issue. If the regime worked against the people's will, it's a collective responsibility that everybody who was serving that regime actually is responsible and has a question to answer. So when we are subjecting Matiangi to these questions, we should subject the former president and the current president so that we don't exclude William Ruto. So therefore, I can just say they are all equal, Ruto and Matiangi. Effectiveness, to me, I can just argue that it will depend on how, you know, even if we have brought you as a formidable competitor, but if you don't work smart politically, you will be defeated. You need to have a good propagandist. You need to have a narrative because that's the nature of the politics of this country. So we cannot assume that there is no more. We cannot do those things. You know, we can't change suddenly like a clock. That today, you know, from today henceforth, there is no propagandist in Kenyan politics. From today, there is no narrative in Kenyan politics. Kenyan politics is about ideas, issues. My friend, ask Maraga. In the ranking today, Maraga is not even coming the third because it's more of idealistic. So until we get, so I can just say, at least Matei can come closer compared to Kalonzo. But all in all, William Ruto is doing extra work, dirty politics that seems to favor him. So other people should just decide if they want to remove him, they should settle for a better option. That at least can be a worthy competitor against the current president.
All right, thank you so much. If you're watching us for the very first time, this is Brother Benson Media, and always we do have our panelist here with you. We are discussing about issues that are in the public domain and the issues that shape the politics of this country. And as we started earlier on the issue of a lady who was saying some words, especially issues about the Raila Odinga family and all that. And now we are on the looking at the possibilities of the candidates that we have, or the candidates that are vying for the presidency, who wants to stop the re-election of President William Ruto. We've talked about the experience of those politicians. We talked about the experience of Kalonzo Musyoka, experience of Matiangi, and maybe let me take this opportunity. Msimama barigani kakangu?
Nzuri ndugu yangu.
Uko
Habari
vizuri?
na unaendeleaje kaka?
Niko salama, labda wewe uniambie.
Furaha kukuona tena bwana. Najua tumekupeza hapa kidogo.
Asante sana kakangu. Sasa leo hii tulikuwa na
wewe ni
endelea. Endelea.
Nasema na wewe ni mwana wetu wa mbavuni hapa sasa. Kama haupo kwa siku kadhaa hivi, unajua wengine nyoyo hazisemi sawa.
Tuko salama sasa, nimerudi kabisa. Sasa tumekuwa hapa na mazungumzo, ni jambo ambalo linazungumziwa. Najua wewe ni mtu ambaye amependa sana kutetea wananchi, wasema hii inaleta tija kwa wananchi kweli, lakini ni mazungumzo ambayo iko katika siasa. Kulingana na wale ambao saizi wamejitokeza wanataka kutupatia uongozi wa badala, labda tuweze sema kwamba Kalonzo Musyoka na Fred Matiangi, hawa ndio unapata kwamba watu wanawazungumzia sana. Na sasa watu wanaangalia ile ujuzi ambao labda wako nayo kisiasa. Ukiangalia Kalonzo, rudi tena uangalie Matiangi, na ile ujuzi ambao William Ruto amekuwa nayo. Labda kuwe, kwa maoni yako kama Mkenya, unaona kama kuna uwezekano labda ya hawa watatu sana wawili sana Matiangi na Kalonzo kuleta kitu tofauti ambao inaweza fanya Wakenya wasimpigie Ruto kura kwa uchaguzi ambao inakuja, ama bado ni mlima kwao?
Asante ndugu yangu Benson kwa swali lenye tija kama ulivyotangulia kusema, na ni swali ambalo nitalijibu kwa hivi. Kwanza, kama kawaida yangu, mimi nasimama kwa ajili ya mwananchi na taifa, hilo kwanza. Na kwa sababu nasimama hilo, naamini kwamba tangia awali wananchi walikuwa wana usemi wao na viongozi wana usemi wao. Kwa hiyo katika hili swali nitalijenga hivi kusema kwamba pamoja na kiherehere na siasa ya kiherehere ya Ruto, siasa ya unyamazifu ya Matiangi, siasa ya upole ya Kalonzo, hapa kwa kweli kila mtu ana nafasi yake. Lakini ikija wakati haswa swala lazima la kuchagua haswa kiongozi, linabaki masikini mwa mwananchi. Nadhani mwananchi hataweza kufanya makosa, anajua ni nani anafaa. Kwa mfano, mmezungumzia hapa masuala na River Yala kwa Matiangi, ndio, lakini Matiangi ana kibri, Matiangi Yala, lakini Yala haikukomea tu enzi za Matiangi. Hapo tungesema kwamba Matiangi moja kwa moja anahusika, maana baada ya kuondoka katika hiyo regime, mauaji haya ya Yala hayakupatikana tena. Cha ajabu sasa, tusipende kufunga mkia wetu chini ya mago na mambo tunayaona yaliendelea hadi Kware, kisha kibaya zaidi kwenye hii regime ndio tutapata ile shaka la Shakahola. So kwa kweli kitakuwa ni kizungumkuti hapa tukisema ni nani anahusika vilivyo. Kwa hivyo tusimbandike mtu kibabe ambacho hakipo. Tuende katika utendakazi na misimamo na ujasiri wa hawa viongozi, ndio tutajua wenye tija katika hawa watatu ni nani. Mwenye ujasiri hapa, ambaye hana ujasiri wa kwanza, Ruto hana ujasiri, ana uongo, lakini ana propaganda na maneno ya kugeuza uongo kugeuza kuwa kweli within twinkle of an eye. Tukirudi kwa Kalonzo, ana ukomavu lakini ana mazungumzo mengi sana juu ya meza. Ni mzee wa dialogue. Lakini
tuweke kwa meza
kwenye jasiri sasa, ambaye anaweza akaingia mahali bila taarifa na akasema, nyinyi taasisi hii mbona hamfanyi hivi? Na kwa nini hamfanyi hivi? Na hivi ndivyo ambavyo vinaruhusu katiba. Mwenye ujasiri huo ni Matiang'i. Maana kila mtu kathibitisha wakati akiwa minister, wakati ule wa wakati wa minister wa education, I don't know, achana mambo na security, we saw what he did. It's like alikuwa anafanana na Magufuli way. Kwa hivyo huyu bwana, kwa sababu ana ule jasiri wa kuenda mahali na pia na ile experience alionayo, kwa kweli anatosha, kwa sababu kile ambacho tunakikosa hapa ni kiongozi ambaye ni jasiri wa kuweza kutimiza na kuweza kusimama na kuonyesha kweli hakika kwenye taifa kwamba kuna kiongozi. Hapa tunabaki na mtu ambaye ni wa drama, siasa na maendeleo juu ya magari kila siku, tangia wakati huo mpaka sasa hivi watu hawachoki. Kwa hiyo katika mimi ninaweza ngalijibu kwamba Matiang'i ni kama ambavyo nilivyozungumza kwamba Matiang'i ana ujasiri. Mzee wetu Kalonzo ni kweli ana ushupavu, anaweza kuwa rais, anaweza ongoza hii nchi kwa sababu anajua mianya ya kufunga ni wapi, tupate elimu ya bure, lakini ana dialogue nyingi. Na tunahitaji mtu ambaye sometimes pia anajua kupinda.
Lakini sasa wacha nikuulize, kwa sababu usitoroke, wacha tu nikuulize kwa sababu umetoa hayo maelezo na umewapatia kila mtu, umepatia sifa zake, na kwa sababu wewe ni yule mtu ambaye anazungumzia sana wananchi na watu wake, kwa sababu bila wananchi hatuwezi kuwa na nchi. Na unadhani hizi sifa ukizitoa na watu wakuje wazingatie, waseme maarifa ama tuseme kwamba uzoefu ambao hao watu wako nayo katika kisiasa, na unadhani kama wananchi wenyewe wanaweza kuwa na ile wakati ambao inaofaa wapige kura kulingana na yale maoni ambayo unatoa? Unasema kwamba kisiasa labda tunaweza sema kwamba Matiang'i hajakuwa uzoefu wa siasa, ni mtu ambaye hajakuwa katika mlingo wa siasa za Kenya, lakini ni mtu ambaye akipatiwa kazi ni mchapa kazi. Na ukiangalia pia Kalonzo pia uzoefu wa kwa siasa ni kubwa mno. Ni mtu ambaye ameshakaa kwa siasa miaka mingi, lakini unapata kwamba kazi ambayo labda alifanya ni asilimia kidogo sana. Hakuna mtu ambaye anaizungumzia sana. Sasa kwa hawa wananchi wako na nchi yako, unadhani wanaweza fanya uamuzi ambao inaweza patiana Matiangi kura?
Ndio, inawezekana. Kwanza hapa mjanitendea haki, maana hawa viongozi ambao ni nduli tungewapima ni wanne. Hapa kuna mamangu Martha Karua hamjamweka hapa, ambaye pia anatosha kabisa na ana sifa za kuweza kuiongoza hili taifa pasipo gudha. Hamjanitendea haki.
Pole, lakini sisi sasa tulikuwa tunatumia
yote tisa la 10 ni hivi. Jamani, sifa usijipe mwenyewe. Sifa usijisifie, ngoja usifiwe. Lakini vile vile pia
nakuelewa.
Kizuri jamani, kizuri kinajiuza, lakini kibaya kinajitembeza. Ingawaje ndio huyu bwana hajakuwa hapo kwa sababu aliletwa kama waziri, lakini alionyesha kwamba akipewa kazi anaifanya kazi, yupo kikazi. Kwa tukimkabidhi nchi na katiba na sheria ataifuata kikamilifu. Umeelewa vizuri? Kwa hiyo wenye ambao tunachagua nazi na mwisho tutaishia kupata koroma ni sisi ambao bado tunajadiliana masuala ya Rivayala, bado tunachaguana na mtu, tunaanza kuchagua huyu, tunaanza kusuka huyu, mwisho tutaishia kwa koroma kama tulipo. Kwa hivyo wananchi wenyewe kwa wenyewe, civic education back to our people. Kama sisi kina msimamo huku tunaambizana, jamani, kwa yote tisa, lakini unaona fulani na fulani, hawa jamaa hawa watatusaidia. Civic education kwa sisi wenyewe, lakini yote tisa. La mwisho kabisa ni kwamba Mkenya yeyote ni mjanja, anajua ni nani wa kuweza kumwelekeza. Hawa watu ukiwaweka tu, kama kutakuwa na fair game, referee hata egemea timu fulani. Na tume nzima haswa ya soka haitaingiliwa na mshiko. Wallahi nakuficha, sikufichi, peupe hapa. Mwanacha atamchagua Matiangi very soon. Karibia wote wataenda kwa Matiangi. Maana kwanza wataongozwa na Gen Z, maana huyu aliletwa na Gen Z, na atakayefufua hili la Matiangi ni Gen Z. Mimi nimemaliza, asante.
Asante kaka kwa maoni yako. Tulia tu kwa sababu bado tuko na mazungumzo hapa ambayo tunazungumza, and I want to thank everybody who is watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, this is Brother Benson Media. You can subscribe so that when we are having conversation like this, the YouTube will notify you, and you can join us in our conversation. And I would want to thank the following: Pondoro, Matiangi Tosha, committee meetings and consultation on politics and tactics of Dima from Nyamuke. Thank you so much for your view. And as I said earlier, we are kindly requesting you, if you're here for the very first time, you can subscribe to Brother Benson Media so that when we are having a conversation like this, YouTube will notify you. Again, Brother Benson Media, we do not only do podcasting, we also offer streaming of events like birthdays, any event that you might be having, you can reach out to us, and our prices are really pocket friendly, because we know that's the streaming we are offering to our subscribers. So we cannot charge you, ile inapata pocket yako inaisha. Hapana, hii itakuwa ni vizuri sana, so you can reach. Asante sana. Huyu ndugu yangu anasema Geoffrey Rotich 588 KBB. I think unamaanisha 10 bila break. Asante sana kwa hiyo. Asante sana Geoffrey Rotich kwa kusema hivyo. Hapa tunasema kwamba maoni yako iko sawa. Hapa ni kipindi chetu, ni kipindi cha Wakenya. Kila mtu ameruhusiwa kutoa maoni. Sisi hatuangalii uko pande gani. Leta hoja zako, tuambie hapa, sisi tutakusomea. Amesema 10 bila break, na asante sana. Si wewe peke yako, I think also inafaa utafute chairman wenyu anaitwa Laban Misiani. He was here and ametoka. He's usually in our show here, Laban is usually ambassador of Kumi Bila Break. So ndamuelezea akirudi kwamba
mkaribishe kaka huyu atueleze 10 bila break, angalau itakuwaje, angalau atupe mfumo, kwa sababu yeye anasema 10 bila break. Mkaribishe aje ndani hapa, tuonane hapa uso kwa uso, angalau tulidadavue kwa kina zaidi hili 10 bila break na one time. At least utakuwa ni mjadala wenye tija zaidi.
Okay, asante sana. Ndafanya hivyo, hata ndio Makubura amemwekea, lakini pia kuna ndugu yetu Laban, kwa sababu unajua Laban hapa ndio yeye ndiye anakuwa ambassador wa 10 bila break. Ndamuelezea kwamba wakati hakukuepo kuna mshabiki wao wa 10 bila break yuko hapa, so inafaa register na Laban, so wakuja watuletee, so that tukue na mjadala ambao iko balance. You know, we need to have a very balanced conversation whereby we have 10 bila break, we have one term, we have no term, so that we can make it quite much interesting. Yes, let me come to you, Makobura, because there's Meguda just left. There's something here also we are talking about, because we are just looking at these front runners. We know always that in our Kenyan politics, as we stand today, there's what we call the tribal arithmetic, and this one plays a major role, especially when it comes to electing president. We've always seen this trend whereby there are three communities that has like the majority of numbers when it comes to population. That is, we talk about the Kikuyu community, the people, our brothers from Central, we have our brothers from Rift Valley, and also we have our brothers, the Luo nation, and also the Luya nation that is quite much has a population numerical power, but it has never been put into influence, you know, for political. So when you look at all these presidential candidates, especially Matiangi and Kalonzo Musyoka, when you speak about Kalonzo Musyoka, we can say has a base that is behind him. Matiangi kind of like is trying to build that base, and the population is not so much. And if you look at President William Ruto, he has a base coming from the Rift Valley. So when you talk about the tribal strength or the regional strength, Teen President William Ruto and Kalonzo tended to have it. Matiangi tended to be building that, and the presidential is also being determined by the tribe. So how will this one play out on this three presidential candidate? Not even three, let me narrow it to two, Kalonzo Musyoka and Fred Matiangi, if they want to stop President William Ruto from re-election, so that they can give Kenyans a new administration. So how is it going to navigate about that? Or how can he campaign about the tribal politics that usually take the center stage of our politics?
Okay, thank you so much. I wanted to say that Fred Okengo, Matiangi, Kalonzo Musyoka, they are all, I mean, they're all good politicians. Currently, not so good, but based on the number of the people that we have, they are the ones who somehow have some good track record. But again, the president is also seeking his second term. He as well has the opportunity to convince the people of Kenya. He's still in power. He still has everything to ensure that he convinces the people of Kenya so that he gets his 2 term. So in this particular stage, of course, we are seeing a 2 faction, the Kumi Bila Break department, and also the 1 term department that is led by the opposition. And we also have a section that is neutral. Wao wajui wanaenda pande gani, but again wanangojea, they are waiting to be convinced whether it is 2 term or 1 term, based on the reactions and the performance of the leaders who are still on power or those who are on the opposition, whether the opposition side will come out and openly talk about issues affecting the people of Kenya and genuinely give clarifications on how they're planning to ensure that they sort the problems or the challenges that are being faced by the people of Kenya. On the other hand, the president, like I've said, still has the opportunity to ensure that he maximizes on production or performing and doing all those things that he promised the people of Kenya, so that when it gets to the D-Day, the only question that the people would say, I mean, he would ask the people is whether he has sorted or fulfilled the promises that he gave to them or not. So those are part of the things that we are waiting to see. And I'll give you Miguda a chance to just give us your version of what you think about Matiangi and Kalonzo, and whether they have what it takes to take this head on with the current president who is seeking for his two term. Miguda.
Okay, first, I'd say that in the event we end up with Kalonzo and Matiang'i, for us to choose who amongst them can compete President William Ruto, to me, Matiang'i is a better option. Despite the past, just like I've said, everybody has a past. We cannot subject Matiang'i to his past and we exclude other people. We are just going to use his past to criticize him during campaigns. But Matiang'i stand a better chance to compete William Ruto compared to Kalonzo. Matiang'i brings a new energy to the political environment. It brings more of a new face compared to Kalonzo has been there from 80s, the times of KANU up to now. Matiang'i, we cannot focus on the negative past and we forgo the positive past. You know, even in the past, there are positive impact. He actually contributed to this Republic of Kenya. By the time he was the CS for the IT, by the time he was the CS for education, and by the time he was CS for the internal security, there are some improvements he had just for the betterment of the country. And he is a workaholic, whereby it means business. If actually can transform that one, that's why, like I've told you, that we can't keep on focusing on the negative past, but we forgot the positive. The good things he has done, you can actually compete effectively compared to Kalonzo. Even Ruto has dark history, but people embrace him in 2022. I don't see why we subject one person from his past. If there's any requirement that he has not achieved for him to be cleared, then you can subject it. But if he's qualified and fit for the job, me, I still give him a benefit of doubt compared to Kalonzo. Kalonzo has been there before. We understand him better. Right now, you want someone also who have energy. We don't need, because to me, Matiang'i has energy to actually contribute much to international relations, to budget, to economy. And Matiang'i, Kalonzo seems to be someone's puppet, like someone is pushing. Matiang'i came when people were demanding for him. During the time we were protesting as the young people, people are looking for options. People say, oh, Kia Mtata, CJ David Maraga Emeritus. What about Matiang'i? Oh, where is Matiang'i? He was making national. Oh, he's abroad working for the World Bank. Oh, bring him back home. Resign, come back. There's a job here for you. Come and rescue the country. So at least there was a voice of the people somewhere. Voice of the people is the voice of God. Vox populi, vox Dei. Right now, so when that happens, the problem has always been some people wanted to hijack or run on the Gen Z protest. But all in all, that is my contribution. I would prefer Matiangi to Kalonzo.
Asante sana. Msimamo, wasemaje kuhusu these two opposition political figures? What is your take?
Mimi nimezungumza awali hapa nikamaliza yangu, ni labda tu ni kuyaregea tena upya. Nimetoa sababu zangu za hao watatu na nikasema nani anafaa, lakini nikasema hamjanitendea haki. Mama, msimuache nyuma. Mama, mkalisheni hapa kwenye hii meza, anatufaa. Haya maswala ya kwamba mnamuacha kwa sababu chama chake ati nini, mtendei haki, mnanikatili. Kwa hiyo ni vyema hasa kwanza, ndugu yangu hapo host, umetuvalia violet kumaanisha wewe ni mwana PLP, so hiyo rangi inatufaa sisi. Kwa hiyo hapa katika swala mazima, yani nikirudi katika swali lako, ni kwamba Matiang'i ni sauti ya watu, na sauti ya watu kama alivyotangulia kuzungumza kaka hapa, nafikiri ni sauti ya Mungu. Kwa hiyo Wakenya tusijaribu kuibezi, hiyo ndio sauti ambayo itaweza kutufaa na kutaweza kutuokolea haswa pale tulipo, kwa maana kila kiongozi tumemwangalia hapa mapungufu yake. Huyu ni mmoja, ni nduli hasa wa kuweza kubadilisha uongo na kuweza kubadilisha kuwa kweli na ukateka haswa mazima. Tutazame awali pale alipoingia na narrative tu ndogo haswa kwamba jamani, mimi natoka maisha ya chini, kwa hivyo mimi sitakuwa mbaya vile, nitakuwa nakumbuka haswa wale watu wangu, kwa sababu hapo chini ndio ninapotoka. Nimekuwa muuza mahindi na muuza kuku, jamani niangalieni mimi. Na kwa kweli haswa vijana na wengi waliweza kukubaliana na kauli na sauti hiyo, ikafanya mashiko, ingawaje naamini hakushinda, lakini kupewa hata kura alipata. Lakini tukirudia sasa tena kwa hali nyingine, amegeuka tena sasa kwamba si yeye, zile ahadi ametuwekea na matumaini aliyoyajenga hayajatimilika kisawasawa. Kwa hiyo hapo bado, hata kama yuko na machinery, yuko na power, yuko na nini, mwananchi anajua ule mzigo ulipo katika mabega yake. Huyu mwingine ambaye ni Kalonzo ni mzuri, ni mkomavu, ni mtulivu, ni mzee ambaye ana unyenyekevu na busara, anaonyesha ubusara wake haswa katika suala zima na uongozi. Lakini unajua tulipofikia, tunahitaji mtu ambaye haswa hii meza pia haitakuwa ni suluhu zaidi kwake. Unadhulumiwa lakini bado unasema mimi wacha tu niingie kwa meza nitapata suluhu. Sometimes tunahitaji mtu ambaye ni jasiri. Mbona mnafanya hivi? Kwani hamjui kwamba hii si sheria? So tukipata mtu wa hivyo, angalau wa kutisha, sometimes tukipata jasiri kwamba mambo mengine si lazima kwenye meza, mambo mengine na act kwa sababu ni mandate ambayo amepewa na Wakenya. So kwa nini mnafuja mali ya umma namna hii? Ama mbona mnakaa kwenye ardhi ambayo ina utata? So tunahitaji mtu ambaye anatoa maamuzi jasiri, na katika haswa hawa ambao umewaongeza hapo jasiri ni mama yangu Martha Karua na Matiang'i. Hawa ndio majasiri ambao kwa kweli wakizungumza wanatisha. Kwa hivyo nikisema hapa naongeza mama, msiseme naongeza mama kwa sababu ni mwana PLP. Naangalia sifa ya kiongozi. Kwa hivyo hali yangu hapa, tusikusuke sana nazi, mwisho tukaishia na koroma. Asante. Lakini pia kuna jambo lilikuwa mnalitangulia kabla nitemwe hapa, maana naona naelekea kutemwa, la ODM. Sitaacha kuzungumzia. Nafikiri jana tulisikia sauti za viongozi na leo pia tumesikia sauti za viongozi. Jamani, mnakifunga katikati kamba chama cha ODM, hawa wanavuta, hawa wanavuta. Sasa matokeo sio itakuwaje? Nani atapata miguu, nani atapata upande wa kichwa? Na kwa hali hii sifa ambayo mnaileta kwamba ni chama kongwe, ni chama pendwa, ni chama cha wananchi, ni chama cha watu wote, mnaanza kuitoa. Kauli zinagongana, lugha zinagongana ndani ya ODM. Kwa hivyo tusiwe tunalipiga jibwa ili hali hiyo nyumba inanuka nyama. Ni chama nakitaka sana, nakipenda zaidi, nakijaa kwa sababu muasisi wake alisimama na hili taifa, na sisi wengine tumepata ujasiri huo kujifunza kutoka kwake. Ndio maana hata kama ndio hatupo katika hiki chama, lakini kwa sababu ni chama ambacho kimejengwa na misingi ya kumtetea mwananchi, bado tuko pamoja nacho. Na nikisikia kauli za jana zilizonitia nguvu, na leo nikisikia sauti ambazo zimenikatisha tamaa, nashindwa kushika, sio nishike ipi. Nimemsikiza Wandai sana tu kwa kina leo, nikaona sasa huyu anajibu yale ambayo yamezungumzwa na Sifuna. Jamani, ODM na ODM, ibakisheni kwa wananchi waamue. Hao viongozi palipofikia. Kwa hivyo hilo tundo langu ambalo nilikotaka kuliongeza, kaka yangu. Asante.
Okay, thank you so much, good friend Msimamo, for giving us your take. And I think my last question that I'll come with, that I would want to hear your view on is, you understand. And something else, Msimamo, before I forget, we'll create, one of these days I'll invite you. We speak about your party. You'll give us an insight of what your party currently stand for and the future plans. And of course, the possibility of the party leader going for presidency, as she has always said. And also the possibility of working with other political parties. I think we'll get into that, and tutakupea nafasi utupe maoni yako hivi karibuni, tuone tujue vile mambo yanaendelea.
Asante. Labda pengine kwa kiufupi tu, labda kwa introduction, kama ulivyodavua na wewe, tukingoja hiyo nafasi ili ni watoe kidogo taka za masikio wale wenye haraka ya kutaka kujua. Kwanza, mama anasimama imara kama alivyo imara. Hawa wakiyumbayumba, yeye bado anasimama imara kwa ajili ya taifa. Azma yetu kama chama, la kwanza ni corruption, na njia zipo, lakini vile vile kuhakikisha kwamba katiba haitachezewa hivi. Hii lazima tuishi katika nchi ambayo inaheshimu katiba na sheria ya nchi. Kwa hivyo lengo letu ni kuhakikisha mama ameingia debeni, na tuna imani kwamba ataingia debeni, lakini pia uwezekano wa kuweza kufanya kazi na wenye mawezo sawia na yeye upo. Kwa hivyo tusiwe na wasiwasi, na sitaki kuingia zaidi kwa sababu naiheshimu haswa uongozi. Mambo mengine siwezi nikazungumza yasiyokuwa na mbavu upande wangu, ili ningojea haswa mipango rasmi mwakani, Mungu akijali. Lakini kwa sasa hivi hiyo ndio mpango tuko nayo, kwamba mama tuko naye mpaka debeni, na shabaha yetu si mambo mengi. Shabaha yetu ni kuhakikisha kwamba corruption imezikwa mazima. Security ya nchi haijachezewa tu karata, lakini vile vile katiba ya nchi imefuatwa kikamilifu kwa minajili ya faida ya yule mlengo ambaye ni mwananchi. Nadhani hapo umenielewa vizuri kaka yangu, kwa ufupi wa misingi yetu tulionayo. Bro, umenipata vizuri hapo?
Nimekusikiza vizuri ndugu yangu.
Yes.
Yeah, asante sana. So we'll find time and give you a chance to just give us your your take on the plans that you have. I mean, the plans that are there within the political party that you are part and parcel of. Miguda, my last question that I'm bringing before you is presidential campaign entails a lot, resources, movements here and there. It also entails having a good network throughout the country. As you understand all these kind of things, Mr. Miguda, do you think these two political leaders have this possibility? I mean, have everything in order to ensure that they will manage, whether it is Matiangi or Kalonzo, that they have the required logistics that are all needed for this particular um, position. And then you can give us your last remarks and also your view on anything that is still pending that we might not have talked about, Miguda. And then I'll get back to Misimamo to give us his last remarks.
Okay, I believe that once people have agreed on one person, the resources will be pulled. They know how to pull resources. Well, wishes will come in. But let no one lie to you that these people, they don't have money. They have money. They have made good money. They have been in government for a quite long time. People like Kalonzo, they have money. Mashagwa, these people are wealthy. So it doesn't mean that once they have been cleared, now they will not have money. They have resources. People can come in. The way Raila used to pull resources. So logistically, it's not an issue. An issue is who can be a competitor, including Martha Karua. Let me also embrace the Martha, the good woman. If they decide it's Martha Karua, the resources will just come automatically. So let us not dismiss this issue that it's only William Ruto who has money. No, people who have money outside here. He's just the president, but there are people who are wealthier than him in this country. This same very, very country, there are people William Ruto feared when it comes to finance. So some people are saying, oh, he has made nothing. What he has is just the one he can use to manipulate Kenyans and other things, but he doesn't have real money. There are people with money actually. So let us not sell to people fear that the other team doesn't have money or they not logistics to carry campaigns. Then they can actually mobilize. When Obama became the president of the United States of America, Obama had nothing, but Obama made it through mobilization of the people. But also, people can decide because people can also decide to eat your money, but they will not turn out to vote for you. My last remark is just to appreciate our viewers who have come to the show. Today, I've seen many people, the Pro Matiangi fans. The Pro Matiangi fans wish you all the best and keep on advocating for the change in the country, and also keep on to popularize your candidate because it's going to be a do die. The incumbent is not a weak candidate; he's actually a strong candidate. Therefore, ensure that you also have a very strong candidate so that one day they will. My good friend Douglas Kibong say one thing is having the money, another is are they willing to spend? That is a question for another day. I'll answer it that day. But see you. I want to wish those Christians who believe in Christmas a Merry Christmas, and make sure that you be cautious. Do not overjoyed for the season. When we were young, we were being told that Christ the Nazarene is the reason for the season, not other things. See you tomorrow, Marco Bura. Bye.
Thank you so much, Mr. Miguda. I can say a good friend Douglas Kibogong. Douglas, ulisema unakuja Christmas, hujatuambia kama uliland ama hujaland. Kindly tell us na utuambie unakuja lini, because the last time ulisema we wait for you. Hata kama ukuji ututumie Christmas, Mr. Douglas Kibogong. Ndio ukikuja tupate kama tuko sawa. Anyway, thank you so much, Miguda, for finding time to be with us this evening. We really appreciate. Mr. Msimamo, I'll give you a chance to just give us your final remarks and the wishes for those who will be celebrating their Christmas starting tonight.
Asante ndugu yangu kwa hilo, lakini pia vile vile pia mimi pamoja na wale Wakristo wenzangu niwatakie Merry Christmas na washerekee haswa kumbukumbu zile ambazo ni za tija zaidi, hususa na nukuu maneno tu machache hapa kwamba siku zote haki, mimi nasema huwa inainua taifa na vitabu pia vinazungumzia hivyo kwamba haki huinua taifa, bali dhambi ni aibu kwa watu wote. So tunapoelekea haswa kusherekea hizi tafrija za Krismasi, basi tukumbuke kwamba haki, na nitafunga na hiyo haki hapa maneno yangu ya mwisho kwamba haki idumu hadi chaguzi, ili sauti ya Mkenya ipate kusikika. Fair game itakuwa na tija zaidi kuipa heshima ya Mkenya kuchagua yule ambaye anamfaa. Kwa hiyo haki ili idumu katika chaguzi, basi haswa ni kujiepusha na vitu ambavyo havina tija, ili kuipa sauti ya Mkenya pale debeni haki yake. La sivyo ni vyenye tumezoea, siasa yetu ni hii ya kawaida, basi hata hawa ambao tumewapigia debe na kuwapa upato kwamba wana uwezo wa kuleta ushindani, pia haki hiyo yao inanipa wasiwasi kama mfumo tutakwenda nao ndio huu ambao tumeona by elections. Kwa hiyo mimi kama msimamo, ombi langu haswa ni kwa rai, haswa aidha kwa viongozi na sisi wa Kenya, tuitazame safari hii kiundani zaidi, ili haki ya Mkenya na sauti ya Mkenya isikike pale debeni. Yale tumejifunza kwa miaka hapo nyuma ya awali hayana tija, kwamba kila mwaka lazima tuishie mahakamani. Ya nini wakati Mkenya anajua ni nani anayemfaa? Mabao ya kusukuma na mkono hayana tija. Kwa hiyo hilo tundo langu ambalo nitafunga nalo. Asante.
Okay, thank you so much, our good friend Msimamo, for also finding time and joining us this evening. We really appreciate. Not forgetting, allow me to acknowledge Tony Cruz, Florence Onyango. I can see Mike Onyango, Douglas Kibogong. I can see, allow me to read all the names. I saw quite a number of viewers today that I wanted to, there's Tammy, there's Shaima, thank you so much for finding time to be with us. We really appreciate. Judith Karitha, thank you so much for also finding time to be with us. Nyamuk, thank you so much for also finding time to be with us. Apollonaris Wanyonyi, asante sana kwa wakati wako na kwa kujiunga nasi, tunashukuru sana. Kenyawan, thank you so much, we appreciate as well. Happy Hot, thank you so much. Paul, thank you so much. Godfrey, thank you. And of course, Douglas, we really appreciate. This is Brother Benson Media. If you're watching for the first time, kindly like and subscribe. If you do so, it is a way of supporting us. Na sisi hapa tutasema ni asante. I want to take this opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas, a blessed morning, a blessed afternoon, a blessed evening from wherever you're watching us from. We really appreciate. Thank you so much. We wish you a Merry Christmas and kindly share with those who are not in a position to get something to eat. Let us share the love and the unity of Christ. Until tomorrow, kindly like and subscribe. This is Brother Benson Media, and here we say your opinion count. Thank you so much, and God bless you. See you again tomorrow.